So whenever you do plumbing, you can get as fancy and detailed as you want. So for example, in this case, I have a wall-mounted lavatory with a mixed lever faucet. And then I have my stop valves here with flex connectors to the faucet. And then I have a strainer with an offset tailpiece and my P-trap. And then of course my clean out and then my shock absorbers with my valves and everything. But what I want to focus on this video is on this part here. So the question I'm posting is, does it really make sense to draft all this, to model all this, right? Like you could go like this, or you can have the wrist handle blades, faucets, but is it really worth it to go through all this trouble? Maybe you would want to model it once and make a block out of the whole thing and then copy it over. But still, do you really want to have all these elements in your model, making it slow? I would venture to say you don't. Hi everyone, this is Alex with BIMitUp, where we help you with professional training and coaching in mechanical, electrical, plumbing, fire protection systems, and Autodesk platforms like Revit and AutoCAD MEP. Let's get started. Okay, so how would I pipe in a practical way a lavatory? Right, so let's say I want to do a single lavatory. It's a private lavatory. So I'm going to do PX to go for my plumbing fixtures. And let's say I'm going to select a wall-mounted lavatory out of my template. By the way, if you want to have access to this template, you can find it in the QR code that I'm going to be displaying on the screen. But let's say I want to go with an electric, which says private. Let's say it's an ADA height with a mixed faucet, right? And I'm going to place it, let's say, right here. I could rotate it like that. Let's place it right there. Click on it. Make sure that the elevation from level is, let's say, 34 inches. The architect is going to dictate those ADA elevations and clearances. We're just following and piping to them. I'm going to cut a quick section through it. Not that deep. And I'm going to open it. I'm going to change my section to AJS working section. So I have detail level. And you can see that right now, all that I'm modeling is a lavatory bowl. I don't have a faucet in it. Neither I want to have a faucet, because when I click on it and I go to edit type, I have all the information there. I have the bowl manufacturer, the bowl model number, I have the faucet type, the faucet model number. So all that information is contained in the fixture. I'm going to display it in the schedules. So I don't want to waste time having a separate faucet that probably has some flexible connectors. So we're going to compare this to the detailed piping later, but for now I want to focus on the practical way of doing this. So I'm going to take out of my drainage connector. I want to make sure that I have the correct pipe type, which is waste generic, also included with the template. I'm going to take it back to my wall. Let's say the wall is right here, and I'm going to drop it, right? I'm going to delete this elbow. I'm going to stretch this out, and I'm going to make this a 2-inch. Let's say I want to go underground with this. I'm going to do TE, trim extend, to extend my fixture arm. I'm going to change my elbow into a P-trap, which is also included in the template. Since this piece of pipe is already sanitary drained and is based off of the system classification sanitary, I won't be able to change this into a venting system, right? So what I can do is slightly disconnect this, and now I'm able to select my vent system. I'm also going to change my pipe type to vent, so I have the proper fittings. I'm going to keep my vent as 2 inches, even though I require only 1.5. I'm going to keep it as 2. I'm going to reconnect. I'm going to copy down to create a clean out. I'm going to have that clean out, let's say, at 8 inches above finished floor. I'm going to reconnect here. I'm going to keep going with my drain. I'm going to take it below the slat, and I'm going to cap open ends for my clean out. I'm going to extend my vent a little bit higher. And that's it as far as drainage, right? Notice that when I click here, I have one fixture unit, which makes sense because this here is a private faucet. So that makes sense. Now what do? Now we have to pipe cold water and hot water. For that, I'm going to go back to my floor plan. I'm going to take out my cold water out to the wall. But first, I'm going to change my pipe type to supply. I get into the wall, and I'm going to get to a higher elevation, let's say 10 feet on the ceiling space. And I'm going to do the same thing for my hot water. So I come out, again, I need to change to supply. I'm going to go in the middle of the wall, 10 feet elevation. Now I'm going to create a little 3D box right here. and I want to make sure that my systems are the correct systems. Notice that the system by default is the out-of-the-box hot water, but I don't want that. I want my hot water, right? So I want this guy. Similarly, I have this cold water, so I want to change that to have my cold water. I want to extend this vent a little bit higher, let's say 11 feet. And I'm going to add some shock absorbers here. So I'm going to do create similar. I'm going to give it an elevation of 11 feet just to introduce that little riser there. I typically like to have a little elbow there, and then I just delete it. I'm going to do the same thing here. 11 feet. Delete it. And I'm going to type PA for pipe accessory. It turns out I already have my shock absorbers here for my template. I'm going to go with a type A because this is just one single lavatory and I can handle it with a type A. So I'm going to drop one right here and another one right here. You can see that the contour is turning red, which is evidence that it's now part of my hot water system. And the same thing with the blue contour here, part of my cold water system. And that would be it. That's all I care about. Now notice that if I click here, I should have 0.5 fixture unit because it's a private lavatory. And here I also have 0.5 fixture unit. So my lavatory in a few seconds is ready to go. I mean, it took me a little bit longer because I'm talking a lot and I'm doing it very carefully, right? But I'm done. I mean, the only thing left would have been to add isolation valves, but you already know how to do that, right? If I wanted to add one here, you simply go to your families. In this case, I'm going to do create similar because I already have one valve here, and just click there, and that's your valve. If you want to flip it around, you just fill with the arrows, just click here, boom, it's flipped, and that's it.